Hello and welcome to Business Class, the show that speaks to startups and looks at some of the real issues about challenges of running and scaling businesses, especially in these tough times. Today, we have a very interesting and a very special episode. I'm very happy to welcome Dheeraj Nobar. He is the co founder and CEO of a very interesting company called Dror. Dror really became sort of well known and famous during the COVID times when some of the products that they have created, the solutions that they've created, suddenly sort of became very relevant for a COVID world. And so, Dheeraj, welcome. And tell us a little bit about the company, its inception, your big idea, and how has been the journey so far for you?
Thanks, Shantanu, and very happy to be here with you. Honored and privileged. Dror as a concept has been conceptualized back in 2017, and in 18 is when we actually started the execution of this, wherein we were wanting to create a safety platform for India. And because we know where India is stacked in terms of safety, personal safety in particular. And it also entails to how employee safety goes, how your businesses are resilient against safety. So we were conceptualizing this as a platform. We were all based outside India, so we had seen what is the kind of safety that's available in other parts of the world, and where does India stack against that. While there have been many attempts around safety by government agencies, women's safety initiatives, multiple things, but there has never been a proper solution around this. So we thought that we, as who claim to be e-commerce experts and champions, who have scaled multiple startups and created multiple technologies around it, can we solve this as a problem? And it's a prevalent problem, everybody knows about it. We created a platform and we launched it in the month of February 2020, and by March 2020 world was hit by COVID, and in particular India was particularly hit by COVID. And that's when we were very fast to realize that new name of safety is going to be social distancing. If you want to be safe today, you have to maintain social distancing, and anything that you do protect during all those lockdowns were COVID. People are not going out, so they were not vulnerable to so many other crimes which are otherwise prevalent in the society. People were largely worried about that they should not get infected by COVID, and that was the primary idea. So we took inspiration from various other Bluetooth solutions available, and we created a social distancing solution, active social distancing. So our idea was, if you cannot measure anything, you cannot control it. So idea was to make things measurable. That means a 2-meter radius, imaginary circle around you. How can you measure it? And that's where we leveraged Bluetooth as a technology, and we started giving people social distancing score. So Dror was first company in the world to have conceptualized a social distancing score. That means now you can measure, and hence you can control it. We launched this in the B2C. We partnered with MobiKwik as a wallet, and we started rewarding people on maintaining 100% social distancing score, which was a very, very relevant solution. It was a real encouragement to people that, guys, maintain social distancing. That's when print media and everybody wrote about us, and we received immense traction in media, and a lot of enterprises started coming to us. Enterprises came to us like P&G, ITC, and all these of the world. They said, can you create an enterprise solution for us? We want to implement this in our factories, in our manufacturing units, in our offices. And that's where Dror ventured into creating an enterprise solution for them. While it was a COVID solution, but I think it was completely in line with our vision of personal safety. So while we ventured into COVID and we created a product around COVID, but it was completely in line with the vision, which we were.
Well, Dheeraj, when you started building the product and started focusing on safety, of course, you wouldn't have known that the world is going to be, there's going to be a pandemic in the world, right? So in some sense, the pandemic, which was really bad news for a lot of people, came as a blessing for Dror, and you got this really big boost. And it's fascinating to hear you talk about social distancing score, and it's honestly, to me, sounds very cool. But today is the 9th of March 2021, And when I go around the city that I live in, it's Gurgaon and New Delhi, I see that nobody cares two hoots for social distancing. The markets are full, the restaurants are full, and people are in some sense back with a bang. So do you think that while some of these solutions, they sound very interesting, but do you think that in India especially, people have the discipline to be able to do some of these things in a very practical manner? Because honestly, we are short of space. Our offices are crowded. Typically, go into any office, they're not designed for 2 meter gap between two people. Our homes are not designed for that, and our public spaces are definitely not designed for that. So how do you sort of deal with that sort of an India specific issue?
Thanks, Shantanu. Very, very relevant and very pertinent point that you raised in there. Is India ready for social distancing? We are so densely populated. Obviously, we are not. That's where some of the other things come into play. For example, corporates. Now, a lot of these corporates, and especially enterprises, they care about social distancing, and a lot of them are still reopening their workplaces. They haven't opened. Manufacturing units, there you have significant distancing between various people because of the size of the machines that they operate upon and things. So manufacturing units were the first of our customers, paying customers, who actually took this product and really leveraged it very, very well. We were also giving them timestamp based contact tracing, which was like, you can save man days. You don't have to quarantine everybody. You should know how many days you have to quarantine each person for. So manufacturing units were first place. Second comes enterprises and corporates, and that's where they care. And most interesting phenomena is happening now, Shantanu, which I would like to share with everybody here, is that companies are now going into a complete real estate optimization. That means companies which are operating huge real estate, 75 of those buildings for Dell, have now shrunk to only 5 buildings. Everybody else is working from home. People are moving into occupancy management. They are moving into real estate management. People are booking their seats and coming to offices like a co-working space. So there is a profound shift which has happened, and that's where
So
this
there's a
social
transformation. You're saying there's a transformation, and this new world that is emerging post-COVID will be a world that is ready for growth. Very interesting. But as we speak today, the biggest news is when two people meet, they ask each other, "Have you taken the shot yet?" Right. So it's also going to be a reality that almost everybody is going to get vaccinated on the planet very soon. So tell me, like, do you think that that is one of the challenges for you, as the world is very quickly moving into a situation where they might be able to manage and control COVID, and some of the permanent change in consumer behavior that you're talking about is still a discussion, is still a dialogue, it still haven't seeped into the minds of people? Words like occupancy management, words like optimization of real estate. Well, we'll have to see how some of that pans out. So is that something that keeps you awake at night, thinking of what happens if the world goes back to being the chaotic world that it was in 2019 before COVID happened?
Shantanu, in particular, our vision is very, very broad. We were not, like you said, there was no pandemic when we were doing various things. We did not plan for pandemic. Pandemic is incidental for us, and in pandemic, we are only helping enterprises in various forms. We have a larger vision, which is around safety. So we are helping citizens in being safe, and we are also leveraging that data and creating a larger India's first riskmatic platform for corporates. We would like to tell you about your business resilience. We would like to inform you at the right time. For example, there's an election due in West Bengal, and we all know usually the elections in West Bengal are largely violent. Siliguri corridor will get blocked. Logistics will get blocked. Are automobile companies billing enough vehicles to the Northeast? Are they aware of this? We are going to be one such platform which is going to make corporates aware about their business continuity plans, about their employee safety, tracking not just vehicles, which most of these BPOs do, but also tracking humans. Have they reached safely home? So we have a larger plan in place.
Sure, it's very interesting, and as you speak, I can almost hear a transition in your mind that this is a business plan that started in a certain way, but now you're thinking bigger, you're thinking different, and you're kind of preparing yourself for a different world that we are going to be living in very soon. At this point of time, I'd like to bring in our expert for the day. That is Vinay Bansal. Vinay is the founder and the CEO of Inflection Point Ventures. Vinay, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Shantanu.
And Vinay, you just heard Dheeraj talking about his uber interesting company and some of these really sort of, I would say, frontier and very edge solutions that are also educating people in what they should be doing, rather than simply trying to make what they currently do more efficient. But Vinay, my question to you is, when situations like these happen in businesses, when there is a once in 100-year event like the pandemic, and everybody sort of scurries to change the business plan, and in a year's time you see that the world has again changed. So this sort of very rapid change, this sort of spike and then again change, how does this impact companies, and how can companies like Dror deal with a situation like this?
Sure. Let me take a situation here and an example. You may be aware, I don't know if you've seen the movie called Mission Mangal. In the movie, there is something called a solar storm, and the whole mission gets delayed by about 5-6 days, which is very crucial for the Indian ISRO team, to reach Mars. They still launch the product, they still launch the rocket, and they know they're going to be 6 days late. They know they're going to be out of fuel, but they have a mission to accomplish, and that's why Mission Mangal. But during the journey, what happens is there's a solar storm which hits the satellite. And it is going to be very disastrous for the satellite. But what it does, it pushes the satellite much faster, and it ends up covering the 6 day of delay and much more than it was scheduled to cover. And it ends up reaching Mars before time with enough fuel, right? So my point is simple. One should be very sharply focused on the original mission that you are on. You can't create new companies for the 6 months or 12 months of the pandemic. If the pandemic acts like a solar storm and pushes you forward in your mission, absolutely great. And I think that's what has happened with Dror. They started off as a safety platform, which is relevant even today. It was relevant before COVID, and it will be relevant after COVID, right? What this solar storm or the black swan event did is pushed Dror much faster into the companies and into the corporates they were looking for, right? Now corporates know them. The name is there, right? The moment they shift back to the original women safety, child safety, and employee safety, corporates know and trust the brand and the product, right? So that's my view. Stay focused on the original mission and passion. Things will happen which may slow you down, but things may also happen which may make you faster. Leverage that opportunity while staying true to your mission. So that's the only advice I would have, and that's the advice we've given to 50 plus portfolio companies that we have at IPV, is to stay true to the mission. And many have come out successful by staying true, and many have gotten the fillip. Some have diverted their path as well, but now they are realizing that they should not have diverted from the path, the original mission that they were on.
So Vinay, that's a really interesting way to put it. And the two things that I sort of got from this short sort of exposition on how to look at disasters is that sometimes disaster can also be a dividend. Like Absolutely. You can look at a disaster and you can use that like a solar storm to propel you into a different orbit. And that's a very interesting thing. So, coming back to the entrepreneur in the room, Dheeraj, so when disaster struck, on an emotional level, what did you guys feel? And how did you very quickly recalibrate? Because even to take advantage of the disaster, you have to recalibrate, right? If you're not flexible enough, you can't even take advantage of the disaster, right? So tell us a little bit of how quickly did you adapt to the fact that yes, there is a disaster, and very quickly you need to be able to talk more about safety, or talk about safety with different words attached to it. Because now in your narrative, different COVID-related words got attached to your original safety narrative. So walk us through some of those actions that you took.
Shantanu, you hit the nail on its head. And Vinay, what he just said was so apt. and we all learn this with the experience. I'm learning it very fast, I would say. Is that you move away from you pivot in certain direction, not move away, I would say, because it was part of safety as a vision overall. But you pivot in certain direction, and then you then also tend to pivot back, and there is so much of resistance it causes when you are going back to a certain thing, which you had already planned and which was part of your plan. In between, you had created a certain market for yourself. How do you marry both together? How do you see them in sync? Biggest challenge, bigger than that, is how your team perceives it. In startups, people work with you because they believe in the mission. People don't work in startups for big buck or anything, because it's a startup. Even brand name does not exist. It's so damn important to keep your team aligned, to keep your team's confidence high, and to ensure that they're all linked and aligned to the thought. So whenever you're pivoting, you're not pivoting alone. Your founder cannot just one night wake up from the right side of the bed and say, guys, we are doing this tomorrow. No, that doesn't work. I have experienced it myself. You have to take everybody into confidence. So while we were building this, and it was very tough. When initially the idea came to us, first important thing was we realized that, okay, pandemic is coming in. First, save your team. Make everybody work from home first. We shut offices very early. We shut offices on 11th of March. And on 26th of March is when, Mr. Modi declared, our Prime Minister declared the lockdown. And that was the first act that we did. Second, we realized that people are not in transition now. Where does safety come into play? Safety comes into play when you are in transition. When you're out on the road, that's where you feel more unsafe. People are not transiting. What do we do now? So one of the path was keep creating your product and keep creating your existing product and wait for pandemic to get over. Second was, guys, there is something that we can really do to help people in during COVID. So since our mission has always been to keep people safe, we were completely aligned with the thought that we have to do this service. We cannot let this opportunity of serving go down the drain. And that's when we quickly created this product, and instantly it hit the market. So that's how it went through, Shanti.
So Vinay, I really want to come back to you on this beautiful example that you gave about Mission Mangal. So this whole sort of solar storm model of management, and what you're advocating today on this platform is solar storms will keep coming and going. Don't be diverted from your original mission. How does this sit in a world that is changing very well today? And are you really challenging this theory that, look, you have to be really flexible and you have to keep reinventing yourself? So how do you balance these two thoughts? Reinventing yourself all the time based on what's happening in the world, or you're saying that, look, you've got to stay true to your fundamental vision, even no matter what happens and what comes in your way?
Sure. See, I think if the vision is noble and the goal that you're trying to achieve is big, I think you should stick through. And if you know the path is right, stick through it, right? Let me give another simple example that happens daily in our lives. Suddenly, you know that you needed to, book a cab for your wife. You pick up the phone and there is a WhatsApp message. Oh, and it pulls you in, or there's a Facebook, tweet or a tweet that pulls you in. You are suddenly into WhatsApp and a tweet, and suddenly you realize, what did you pick up the phone for? Right? You've kept the phone back without doing what you picked it up for, right? That has got you diverted, and that gets all of us diverted at least 10, 20 times a day. And we end without finishing the goal that we wanted. And then we pick up the phone again. Oh, now I remember why I picked up the phone in the first place, right? This happens to us, small increments of time, fractions of seconds, so sometimes years, right? So if the goal is important, that is what you exist for. If you think the path is right, stick to it. Solar storms sometimes may propel you, sometimes they may hold you, right? So that's, I think, is a key thing. Finish one thing off first well. Do whatever you do really well. And once that is done, go on to the next thought, go on to the next mission, no problem. So that's where I would say it to be. The second piece I will say is, when we divert, we don't realize that the kind of energy, effort, team, operations, processes, expertise that's needed to do the new thing is significantly high, right? I mean, we all know how difficult it is to raise a kid. Just because you have raised one kid doesn't mean you'll raise another kid, pretty quickly. It's not that easy. The effort it required to raise a kid is very high. So do one thing well and then go to the other. It's not easy to do different things at the same time, effectively.
So, there'll always be an investor's point of view on this, and there'll always be an entrepreneur's point of view on this, because the investor might come back and say, look, I funded you for a reason, for a certain business plan. So why are you changing this plan now? But entrepreneurs are not as patient as investors. It is that restless quality, the quality to be always sort of buzzing with new ideas and so on. So do you think that the role of the board during these times of disaster, how important is that? And how do you think the board can help in steering the direction of a company and trying to balance the restless energy of the entrepreneur and the sort of the steady, one step laid back attitude of the investor who can see things from an outside in point of view?
Sure. So I think two pieces here. One, boards were and will remain very important for the direction of the company. Unfortunately, we always see some of those companies where boards are just sleeping, right? Even the dragon is coming in and we're saying, hey, the board is sleeping, don't disturb, right? So boards have to be active. The second is the boards also have to have the conviction behind the mission, right? I mean, going back to Mission Mangal, there was a board. There was somebody approving that funding of the mission, right? So if that board is not convinced or the entrepreneur is not able to convince it, it's not worth investing in that company or being on the board of that company, right? So the boards do also play a very important role in mentoring, in guiding. Boards have to have seen the word and life and bring back that experience back to the founder, saying, hey, I know this is how it will unfold. This is the experience in the last 4 companies. I'm passing it back to you. Listen or not is your choice. The board has to act like parents for kids that are running around, right? So that's what a parent should do for a good development of the kid, for a kid to have good education, and for a kid to be successful is what the boards should be doing. Sometimes they have to take the hard stand. Sometimes they have to, tap on the knuckle and say, guys, you're moving the wrong direction, or you're running around the house too much. Focus, sit down, concentrate, and do your studies. So all those things are definitely required by the board, and we need the boards to be mature. We need the boards to be experienced, and we need the boards to be convinced and very sharply, clear on the goal that the company is on.
That's really fantastic. I like the analogy of the parent-child relationship and the nurturing aspect of that relationship between the board and the company. So Dheeraj, coming back to you, well, now it seems that there's going to be the new normal post the COVID, and your larger dream of safety for India, women's safety, child safety, employee safety, and so on. Are you now thinking bigger? Are you now thinking that the COVID's made everybody realize that safety is an important word, and not only should you pay lip service to it, but you also need to take out a check and write a check for an account of safety. So how big do you think safety is going to become in a country like India, which is fundamentally unsafe?
We were doing a bit of a market sizing here, and to answer your question precisely, there are almost 8 trillion trips happening in India on road. People are transitioning so many times on the road. There are approximately, between 15 to 40 years of age group, approximately 200 odd million male, female in India with smartphones in top 30 cities. I'm talking about top 30 cities alone, where you need safety. People are going to do their jobs, people are going to their offices. Women are largely, families are nuclear. Women are staying alone at home. It's all people are vulnerable in India, so to say. So I think there is a huge market there. Number one. Number two, there are big companies outside India which are providing safety safety to large companies, I would take example of WorldAware, $80 million annual revenue of WorldAware, which is providing just safety to employees of maybe Boston Consultings of the world, Jaguar Land Rover, and Mill Group. In India, we don't have any company. And that's the gap which Drone is going to fill. We are looking at that specific market and also specifically safety. Drone is also working on wearables because we understand mobile phones are the first thing that gets snatched away. So we're working at a completely holistic solution here. And that's the direction that we have taken.
That's really fantastic, Dheeraj. And again, Vinay, thank you for a really fascinating discussion today. And I'm really hoping that your products and services become like a household word, and India becomes a safer place. For the longest time, we always used to think that safety is the responsibility of the government or some public authority, and somebody is going to come and save us. And we used to keep cribbing about the fact that the police is not doing his job, or the civic administration is creating unsafe roads and infrastructure. But probably this is also another area that private sector can come in and sort of help the community and help the country become a safer place. So thank you, guys, for a fascinating discussion, and wish you all the best.
Thank you, Shantanu.
Thanks, Shantanu. Thanks, Vinay.
Thanks, Dheeraj. Take care. Have a good day ahead.